Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rosario and I like to read books. Today I'm going to be doing essentially a 5-star audit. So I'm going to be going through all the different books that I do read and I do like, and kind of seeing what kind of themes there are and different things that I really like in my books. I feel like I generally have an idea of the things I do like, but I feel like this will just be fun. So we're going to go onto my Goodreads and have a look through all the books that I've given 5 stars over the years. I was trying to figure out how to do this. When you look at like my red shelf, it kind of, everything's all mixed up, but I only want to be looking at the ones that are kind of more recent, not the ones that I read in 2015 or so. So I thought that this view would look a little bit better to kind of go through these books so that I can see all the 5 stars that I have given recently. So if you want to go through this year, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. It's a thriller which kind of borders on being a bit supernatural, about Maggie, who is kind of going back to her house, her childhood house, which her parents claimed was haunted. It kind of looks at like what's real and what's not, and there's so many twists and turns. I love a good twist and turn in a thriller that I don't really see coming, and that kind of makes me really question things and leaves me with questions, which I think is why I gave this one 5 stars. Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. This one follows Eleanor as she kind of falls into these new relationships and starts to work through like her traumas and making herself better, and she's experiencing all these different kind of things. So yes, something like those kind of like people getting better at things I really like. When there's characters that are kind of like working through problems and kind of coming out the other side, I think I really like things like that. And also Orange, I gave 5 stars. I know exactly why I gave those 5 stars. It's the wholesomeness. It's like a really nice friendship group that really cares for each other, and they're so wholesome and they'll like do everything, like a found family kind of theme that I really like in books. Oh god. Okay, let's go for 2023. How many do we have? We've got quite a few. Okay, we'll go a bit faster through this. Last House on Needless Street. Thriller, very twisty. You kind of don't really know what's going on. You kind of get bits and pieces, and again, shocking twists that I didn't see coming. The Weight of Blood, which is also another kind of thriller, like a YA, a bit of a Carrie retelling. It's kind of got horror thriller elements that I really enjoyed, and a little bit of commentary on like race and like small towns in America, which I think, again, like social commentaries I really love in books. I really love I'm just a social commentary person. Like, I grew up on Tumblr, so I just love getting into random arguments on the internet with strangers until I was like, actually, this is not fun. But so yes, anything with like a really strong social commentary I really love. There are other thrillers here, so Looking Glass Sound, creepy, kind of like really twisty turny thrillers with like kind of strange, bizarre things going on that you just have to find out what's happening. The Writing Retreat, another strange, wild ride of a thriller. And also Rules for Vanishing. It's kind of like a supernaturally thriller. It's a young adult, but I think it's done really well. It's kind of this ghost story, very creepy, very eerie horror, but like ghosty supernatural horror. And there were so many twists and turns. It was really cleverly written with like the use of time and the time frames of everything happening. Okay, and then we have Ghost by Dolly Alderton, which is kind of a just contemporary kind of look at modern dating, which I mean isn't something I usually enjoy reading about, but I just really liked the way that Dolly Alderton wrote this. And then again, another contemporary, which is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen, which is kind of like about Gilda, who is like this bizarre main character who's struggling with like anxiety, and she kind of just, it's kind of like how Eleanor Oliphant is, like where someone is clearly having some mental health issues and they kind of go through them and you kind of get all these different things, but this is much more funny. Like strange moments. She's such a unique character, and I really just love Emily Austen's writing. And Demon Copperhead, because the amazing characterization, character-driven novels are just something I really love, when you really get inside the head of a character and the author writes them so well that everything just feels so perfect for that character. Like the tone of voice and the characterization is so strong. That's, I really love in books. And Sadie's also written in that kind of excerpty way, so much like Rules of Vanishing, where you're kind of taking these different excerpts of interviews or different interviews, and Sadie's written like podcast kind of format. So you get like bits of podcast as well. So kind of, I guess that's something maybe that's something that actually I think I probably quite enjoy. If it's written in that kind of like excerpts and like piecing things together kind of format. What else of note? We have Yellowface, which is again a commentary on society and publishing and race. Oh, and then we have Strong Female Character by Fern Brady, which is a memoir, but it's primarily about autism and her autism diagnosis. So that's something else that probably will come up in the future. Okay, I read both Snot Girls. Snot Girl is just relatable for someone that has many allergies, has been online in different online spaces and created content of different forms, and feel like your online persona doesn't really match your real life persona. It's just like this fun kind of like bit wacky story of her and like all these different things that are happening. Like someone like frames her for a murder or something like that, or something crazy, like just crazy things like that are happening. We also have another graphic novel. I give graphic novels quite high scores, so we also have Mooncakes, and we have the first two Heartstopper volumes, I think. Mooncakes was like a fantasy little romance between these two characters, and like one was like a witch and one's a werewolf, and they're kind of like reunited and they're kind of investigating this case of demons that are going on. It was just adorable. I love it. And what else do we have here? We have Ariadne, we have Crying in H Mart, we have Book Lovers, we have the Poppy War trilogy, then we have Every Hearted Doorway and Down Among the Sticks and Bones, which is a Two Wayward Children series. We have Babel by R.F. Kuang as well, and we have The Hollow Places. And then Wayward Children is like portal fantasy. I just loved the atmosphere. I think the first one I really enjoyed because it was like an introduction to the world, and then I really loved the second one, which is Jack and Jill's story, and just loved the atmosphere and these kind of like look at again like gender issues and the way children are brought up to be different gender roles and things like that. I really like that about that, and also the kind of atmosphere in this book was really good. It was very creepy, very horror, very gothic, which again comes up a lot. The Hollow Places as well, creepy portal horror this time, where this woman finds these strange portal to this other world where there's just all these kind of like different worlds in this bunker. It's bizarre and so creepy. T. Kingfisher is really good at writing creepy, supernaturally really creepy horror that's also kind of funny at the same time. Creepy horror, another thing I absolutely love. We also have Book Lovers, which is like the only romance I feel like I've given 5 stars recently as an adult. I'm not too much of a romance reader anymore, not sure why. Babel, again, critique of colonialism, like race issues, colonialism, critique of society in here. Okay, then let's see, when we go back, I don't know what else. So one thing else that I'm not going to go through these ones as much, but also like, let's see, 2015, This Song Will Save Your Life. I really enjoyed this. This is kind of like a YA contemporary kind of novel about a girl. I think it's set in the 80s, so maybe is that contemporary or is that historical fiction now? This is like a young adult contemporary, I'm gonna say contemporary, about a girl who kind of finds her purpose and this love for music, and she kind of gets involved in this underground music scene where she kind of finds like this purpose and this meaning, and she kind of like, it changes her life to be involved in this scene. And I think as someone that loves music, I was like, wow, just loved it. Just really spoke to my soul. And I think I really enjoy books about that, like where people kind of find passion and meaning and kind of like figuring themselves out. I think I really love a book about identity and figuring yourself out and the kind of complexities of that, and just watching someone finding themselves. Fangirl, again, is very similar in the sense of someone finding their, like exploring their identity, almost like a coming of age. I think like I really enjoy that. I really love just reading like just people discovering themselves, because I do think that you do kind of discover things about yourself as you get older anyway. Like you're always kind of growing and evolving as a person, and I really like reading books about people growing and evolving and changing and finding their passion and just exploring their identity. And this is kind of like a girl who's struggling with changes at university and kind of growing apart from her sister and kind of becoming her own independent person away from her twin sister. Things like that, where she's kind of struggling to do those and kind of grows through those by the end of the novel. And then it was in 2013. Into the Vampire, The Book Thief, what was the Frankenstein? And again, if you can see, I've got a bunch of classics, so like Jane Eyre, which is just like my favorite classic of all time. We also have Frankenstein, and we have North and South, which I remember really loving because I felt like it was so modern for its time, and it was felt like so modern for its time and such a critique of society for that time, which I think was like at the end kind of industrialization period. From that little look at everything, I feel like we've kind of got different categories that I find I really enjoy. Okay, so under horror, like lots of my 5 stars are horror, but supernatural kind of horror that kind of either goes more towards supernatural horror, so things like Rules for Vanishing, or leaning a bit more towards the thriller Home Before Dark. So those kind of stories that have those ghosty kind of elements and like kind of leave you questioning things, like you kind of want to know what's going on, is it really paranormal? And then we also have twisty turny thrillers like anything by Katrina Ward, so Last House on Neither Street, Sundial, books that really leave you questioning things. And I think Home Before Dark falls into that in terms of like that leaves you questioning what's going on and like really compels you to keep reading. Also in supernatural horror, like something like The Hollow Places, where it's kind of like going into different realms that are supernatural and slightly different but not completely alien, like they're just kind of weird. The same way with the Way with Children series, it's kind of you're going to there's different worlds, but they're not like completely different. It's just something that's a bit weird and a bit creepy and a bit like disturbing almost, like it's intriguing. And then I think we have another subset of thriller, which is kind of like thrillers that you kind of piece together through different excerpts of like interview, podcast, different forms of kind of media that come together to create a story and this kind of narrative that also kind of is a little bit confusing. You're kind of figuring something out. So things like Sadie and The Weight of Blood, where they both have that kind of narrative that's slightly different and just a different kind of format. And then we have the kind of under like literary kind of fiction, we have novels that are very strong in their characterization and very character driven. So things like Demon Copperhead, and also I feel like a lot of classics kind of fall under that. A lot of classics like Jane Eyre and also North and South, that is something that I really enjoyed about it, is the characterization in those novels. We also have any novels with strong commentary that I find interesting, so commentary on society, whether that be race, gender, those I think can easily get a 5-star from me. And then also we have the wholesome category, so wholesome, figuring out your life, coming of age kind of stories, so things like Eleanor Oliphant, Orange, Everyone in This Room Will One Day Be Dead, This Song Will Save Your Life, those kind of vibes of figuring your life out and doing something a bit more positive. Those kind of explorations of identity and figuring yourself out, finding out new things. So yeah, those are the kind of different themes and genres that kind of stand out and appear in the books that I give 5 stars. I feel like this has confirmed the things that I really like and also kind of given me the evidence to back up, yeah, these are things that I really like and I do kind of give 5 stars. So if you've ever done like a 5-star audit, let me know what kind of themes you really enjoy. This has given me grounds to now do a 5-star predictions from the things that are on my TBR and like I'm gonna read soon. So this has been interesting. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one, which may or may not be a 5-star predictions video. We'll see how it goes. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like and consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!